Hello and good morning, my friends. Today I will do Capricorn Lagna and the fifth bhava. Before I start with my Capricorn Lagna and the fifth bhava, I have a small announcement to make. Since we are in a lockdown situation and we are unable to go anywhere out, why don't we use this time to learn the basics of astrology for those who have subscribed for me and for those who have just flipped my videos. I will be doing a free class in Zoom. Today is Thursday. My first class will be on Saturday at 8:30 India Standard Time. You could rewind it and watch it later too. I will give the the Zoom identity number or the Zoom, I don't know. I have this big video conferencing, or what we call it, the webinar ID. So I will send that ID in my description box. You could please go through it, and I will be online every Saturday, Monday, Wednesday, and we shall do astrology free for those of you who are interested. Please log in to my Zoom ID, which I have given in my description box. Thank you. Now let us look at the Karatattvas of the fifth bhava for a Capricorn Lagna. The Capricorn Lagna and the fifth bhava will fall in Taurus, which is a fixed earthy sign. Bull is the symbol, and it is the second house of the Kala Purusha. Second house of the Kala Purusha means material wealth. Therefore, the Karatattvas of the fifth house will get embedded to the Karatattvas of the second house from the Kala Purusha. The earthy fixed sign with bull as the symbol translates to a person who has a calm thought process, a strong will, and the ability to follow through his will, and also to prove his worth in the society, or prove their worth in the society, is the game plan of all Capricorn Lagnas with the fifth house Taurus. Because the Capricorn Lagna is having fifth house as Taurus, we get an inclination that all Capricorn natives are strong-willed, are what is called focused, and they will work towards their goal orientation. It is not that Capricorn has this quality. It is the fifth house from the Capricorn. The fifth bhava from the Capricorn is the bhava of emotions, of education, of children, of purva punya, gains in your share market, stock market, loss of share market, stock market. These are or gambling or horse riding, any of the vices or any of the ways to make money. Okay, this is not a Capricorn quality. It is the fifth house of Capricorn which gives us this quality. All right. So we have to understand it is the Rashi where the house falls, promotes that Rashi, promotes that bhava or the house. The sign or the Rashi, I repeat, the sign or the Rashi from the Kala Purusha is the connector to the is connected to the Karatatvas of any particular bhava or the house. Right? Now, let us look at the emotions of a Capricorn Lagna, which again, as I said, will be controlled by Scorpio. Okay, the word would be controlled. When you have a particular Lagna, the Rashis from that Lagna point will control the houses or the bhavas. Okay, so now let us look at emotions. As I said, the earth fixed sign, therefore they have an emotion to be fixed, calm, steadfast, right? And show an exterior of self-confidence or show an exterior of being not emotional, right? Now, when we look at the education, these natives, Capricorn natives, whichever field they take, at the end of it, they will come back to finance because it is the second house of the Karapurusha. Whatever they may study, they may have planetary positions that influence them to take up engineering. They may have a planetary position to take up into medicine. They may have a planetary position for straight accounts. But come what may, over the period of years, they will fall into the category of finance. I had a student of mine, he said, I'm Capricorn Lagna and I have done engineering and I am not doing finance. I said, so what are you doing? I work for a software engine company which deals with the banking finance. So again, banking, finance, he's doing the software part of it for the bankers or for the finance institutions. So it comes back to the same thing. Okay. Now, when we look at children, first and foremost, Taurus is a semi-fruitful sign. Okay. Since Taurus is a semi-fruitful sign, the natives are semi-fruitful is one thought process. Secondly, it is an earthy sign. Therefore, there has to be a growth. So, there has to be children. But the third point is the fixed sign and the bull. Because it is a fixed sign and because it is the bull, we tend to say that the native might have delayed children, one parameter. The second parameter is that Venus is the self-centered planet. The Venus is a self-centered planet and they do not want to have a bondage. A child is a bondage. They want to be free-spirited. They don't want the bondage. Therefore, it happens that Taurus 5th house or Capricorn 5th house Taurus have late children when they are ready to take in the commitment or take in the bondage as the thought process might go. Of course, if Jupiter is aspecting the 5th house, if Jupiter is influencing the 5th lord, it is 100% given the native will have children early, but there will be a kind of a detachment between the child and the parent. Okay. Now, we have finished children, we have finished emotions, and we have finished education. Now comes Rahu Ketu. Rahu in Taurus is considered great because he gets exalted. Therefore, the materialistic want of the native also gets exalted because it is the second house of the Kala Purusha. The need for material wealth becomes very strong for a Capricorn Lagna if he has Rahu in the 5th house. But since Rahu being Rahu, he will in the early stages of the child's life would have given some changes for the education pattern. There would be some losses in the education pattern, right? Now, when Ketu is associated in Taurus, which is the 5th house from the Capricorn Lagna, the natives generally are what one calls it an introvert. They do not like to mingle with people. They like to be away from people because he becomes Neecha. Ketu becomes Neecha in Taurus. And the other thought process is that the Ketu becomes aloof. So generally Ketu in the 5th house Taurus, with Venus being the 5th lord, the natives may not marry and therefore they may not have children. This entirely depends upon the other parameters in the natal chart. But on the whole, this is the thought process. As far as education goes, the native should do education where he is not associated with people, or he takes a subject where he can work alone. He's a lone wolf. He loves to be alone. He doesn't like to be tagged around with anybody. Now let us look at this chart. In this chart we have Makara Lagna with nobody in the 5th house. There are no planets in the 5th house, sorry. And the 5th lord is in the 8th house. 5th house is aspected by Saturn. The 5th lord Venus is associated with Sun. He is the 8th lord. He is associated with Mars, which is the 4th lord and the 11th lord, and he is conjoined with Mercury, with an aspect of a retrograde Jupiter. Right? Now, in the, sorry, let me just check the Navamsha, if I have that thought process right. In the Navamsha, the native Venus, not getting the chart over here, just a minute please. Okay, in the Navamsha, Venus is placed in Gemini. In the Navamsha, Venus is placed in Gemini. In Navamsha Tulya Rashi, the dispositor of Venus in the Navamsha is Mercury. Mercury is placed along with Venus in the Rashi chart. Therefore, Venus can be considered to be 70% well placed, 30% badly placed. He is badly placed because he is in an anemical house. He is not badly placed in Gemini because he goes to the friend's house. And the dispositor friend is Mercury, is sitting or is posted or is sitting with him in Leo. Sun is a friend of Mercury. Mars is not a friend of Venus, but Mars is neutral to Venus, right? So basically the thought process is it is an 70% positive placement and a 30% negative placement for the 5th lord. So this is the placement of the planets. Let us look at the results of this chart. The result will be, when it comes to emotions, since Saturn is aspecting the 5th house and the 5th lord is associated with Mars, that is Venus is associated with Mars, we cannot turn around and say the native is calm, but we can say the native is controlled, because Jupiter again aspects Venus. Saturn is aspecting the 5th house. Therefore, there is a slow rise of temper, which is again controlled by Jupiter. Therefore, we can say he is calm, or he does not get angry at short notice. Okay, now education. I have given one small note over here that when we have Atma planets, the Atma planets are Sun, Moon, Mars and Rahu is considered to be Atma planets. When we have the Atma planets, the natives generally go for core subjects. And when we have Jiva planets, that is Jupiter, Venus, Mercury, Ketu and Saturn. Okay, so the Jiva planets generally give us soft courses or soft studies. It does not mean that they are not useful. It just means that they specialize in not hardcore engineering or hardcore medical. Right? In this chart, we have a Saturnian influence on the 5th house. The 5th lord is posted in the 8th house. It is associated with Mercury and Sun. There is the Buddha Aditya Yoga, which I have probably explained to you in my other classes. There is a Buddha Aditya Yoga here. And the 4th lord Mars is associated with the 5th lord Venus with an aspect of Jupiter from the 4th house. So Jupiter placed in the 4th house aspects the 4th lord Mars as well as the 5th lord Venus, which means to say the native will definitely have a good education. Definitely all these things are completely Dasha Bhukti related. If the planetary positions influence, if the Dasha Bhuktis influence these planets and the houses, definitely the native will have good education. In this case, it would be soft studies and it could be finance. One thought process, as I told you previously, that Taurus is the house of finance. The second thought process is that Venus and Mars posted in the 8th aspect the 2nd house from its place Leo, aspecting Kumbha. Kumbha in turn is a house of money because it is the 11th house of gain. Therefore, the native will work or do an education which will relate to finance. Will do an education which will relate to finance. Now, as far as children are concerned, Saturn is aspecting the 5th house. Therefore, there will be a delay in children. The 5th lord Venus is hemmed with 3 malefic planets, Mars, Sun and Mercury. But the only saving grace is Jupiter. But Jupiter himself is retro. Therefore, the native will have a child when the Dasha Bhuktis are favorable and will be medically assisted because it happens to be in the 8th house of diseases or of change. Okay, so this native may have children in the right dasha provided the planetary positions. Dasha Bhukti has to be good. Oh, I lost the track. The Dasha Bhukti has to be good and they get medically assisted. I thank you for watching my video. I hope you liked it and it made some sense to you. Please do like, share and subscribe and comment, and join me on Saturday at 8:30 for a free class on astrology basics. Thank you. Bye bye. Have a good day.